Hey guys, John here from Sonic Drive Studio. I hope you're all doing well and welcome back to the channel once again. Today's video is going to be all about the art of reamping with the help of some awesome Walrus Audio products. The guys from the local distributor for Walrus Audio were kind enough to send me these pieces of gear for this video, and they are also supporting this video by sponsoring it. Now, reamping is very important to me, and I do it a lot in my studio. A lot of times when I'm getting creative and focusing on recording my music, I don't really want to worry about the tone. I just want to plug in my guitar, record my parts, and then worry about the tones later. Now, reamping is of course perfect for that and also quite easy with the right tools, and it just allows me to worry about that later if I so desire. I just love it, and I wouldn't want to live without being able to do that, to be honest. I obviously have a lot of amplifiers, and I like going in between various amplifiers and trying different things. And I just don't always want to commit to a certain type of amp tone, so this really helps. And sometimes I think I have the perfect guitar tone recorded, but then when I start the mix, I realize that the guitars clash with the vocals or something like that, or that they just don't sit in the mix well. In those cases, reamping can also be a lifesaver. However, reamping is not just limited to that purpose, it can also be used for more creative purposes. And I do want to talk about that as well, but a bit later in the video, so stay tuned for that. First, let's just focus on the primary method of reamping, the one that I just talked about, and I will do that with a good example. But we have to start by talking about something important, which is splitting the signal when you are recording it. And that can be done with a good DI box. And what you do with that basically is you plug your guitar into the DI box, and then that DI box splits the signal. One signal goes to your amplifier or modeler or whatnot, and the other signal goes straight into your interface. So that signal is basically the dry guitar track that you will later use for reamping. Now, there are quite some options for this on the market, and one well-known brand for this is Radial, of course. They make a lot of DI boxes. And today, for this purpose, we're going to use the Walrus Audio Canvas DI box, which I have over here. This is the mono version. So this one is great for this purpose, just for recording one single guitar track at a time, basically. So what you basically do is you plug your guitar into the input with a regular guitar cable, and then the through output over here, you can use that to connect to your amplifier or modeler or whatever amplification method you want to use, whatever colors your tone, basically, whatever gives you a full guitar tone. And then you use this XLR output over here, so this line output, to go to your interface. And again, as I just mentioned, this will be the source of your clean DI track. So this allows you to record your amped sound alongside your clean DI track at the same time, which is what I always do when I record my guitars. There's no exception. I always have a clean DI track recorded alongside my amped guitar tracks. So this box is quite a handy piece of kit that can be useful in various situations. But today we're just going to focus on the reamping part of it. Okay, so I amped some riffs that I played with my ESP LTD Phoenix Deluxe 1000 Quilted Maple with the Seymour Duncans, the custom in the bridge to be precise, through the rhythm channel of my Peavey 6505 1992 original. You've all seen that amplifier on the channel recently. By the way, I did a full demo and review of this amplifier on the channel recently, which you can check out up here or down here if you're interested. And of course, I also recorded the dry tracks alongside the amped tracks. I'm going for a thick and fat saturated rock tone here, so not really metal. That's why I'm going for the rhythm channel as opposed to going for the lead channel. The initial takes that I recorded with the amplifier sounded pretty good, but I wanted to try a different type of speaker. For the initial take, I used one of the OwnHammer Rockbox IRs, the T75 speaker option to be precise. But now I want to try something a bit more rock and growly and in your face. So I'm going to switch that to the V30 EN1999A, which is a great sounding V30. And I'm recording that on the track basically. But as far as the amp tone goes, I felt like the amp tone wasn't saturated enough and it was a little bit too woolly and muffled sounding. So I'm going to add a pedal in front of the amplifier to add some more saturation and some more definition and clarity, and especially definition in the mids. And for that purpose, I'm going to use the Walrus Audio Emissary boost, which is a really cool and interesting boost pedal. It's a really nice parallel boost with two individual boost circuits that you can blend to your taste. And we've got a mid boost over here with a sort of mid-range hump. You can choose the frequency between 1 kilohertz and 800 hertz. And you also have the bright boost, which adds some sort of clarity and brightness to your top end. I'm blending in a little bit of both just to add some push, more saturation, more mid-range presence, and a bit more clarity as well. Okay, so now with this pedal and that different cab IR, I'm going to reamp. And for that purpose, we're going to use the Walrus Audio Canvas Reamp Box. Now this passive reamp box is excellent for this application as it converts the line out levels from the line outs of your interface into instrument level. So the amplifier will hear the signal coming out of your interface as instrument level as opposed to being line level. So this is important as it will sound and feel just as if you're plugging your instrument directly into the amplifier. Now I'm not very technical myself, but it basically makes sure that the level and impedance is correct. So from the interface, I'm going into the input of the reamp box, and then the output is going into the pedal, and the pedal is going into the amplifier, and then the amplifier is going into my reactive load, my Red 7 reactive load to be precise, then into the OwnHammer IR, which is the modern 3 mic mix by the way, and then back into the computer. Now if you know me, you know that I always prefer to record direct with a good reactive load box and a good cabinet IR, but of course you can also mic up your cabinet and do it that way. In that case, you're going to do everything that I just mentioned the same, except you're not going to go into a reactive load. You're going to put a microphone in front of your speaker, and then that goes into your interface or into a preamp and then into your interface, depending on your setup. Okay, so I'm very happy with the results here. The guitar tone sounds more meaty, more saturated, and it basically just has more authority, which is in fact what I was going for. Let's go ahead and take a listen to a comparison of the old tone before I reamped it to the new tone with the new cabinet and the pedal in front. Let's check it out. Great, that sounded much better indeed, so I thought that that was a great example of reamping. You can use it to get drastically different results, going from a low gain amplifier to a high gain amplifier, for example, or using a completely different cabinet, or you can use it for subtle differences, whatever you want basically. Now I want to focus on a different application for reamping that is also very fun and creative. So I'm going to pull up a track that I recorded with my Fender Tele and that I amped through my Blackstar HT Club 50 Mark II on the clean channel. However, the tracks that I recorded are way too dry and I want to add some effects, to add some rhythm with the delay and to add some color with the chorus and also to add some ambience with a reverb and stuff like that. So I'm going to use this for reamping tracks that I already amped through an amplifier, and I'm going to put them through some effect pedals to make this signal more wet. So I'm not going to go through another amplifier this time. I'm not even going to use my clean DI tracks. And for this purpose, I'm going to use some Walrus Audio Fundamental effects pedals. Those pedals are really awesome. You can see them over here. Really great pedals. I want to use the chorus to make the tone more lush. the delay for a rhythmic ambient effect, and then at the end of the song, I want to turn off the chorus and then enable the phaser as well as the reverb. So the signal that was already recorded through the amplifier is going into the Reamp box, and that will turn the line level signal coming out of the interface into instrument level, and that level will be fed into the pedals. And then from the pedals, we're going to go back into the canvas DI box, which will do the opposite of the Reamp box and convert the instrument level back into line level, which is being fed back into the interface. Now, one thing to note before we take a listen is that you can use this technique for all types of instruments. It's not just limited to guitar. So you can run any type of instrument through some effect pedals for really cool and unique effects. Now, when you run a signal through some guitar pedals, sometimes people do it because they want that analog sound. But some people also prefer the tactile feel of working with actual physical controls. Sometimes people prefer that over working with mouse clicks and stuff like that. And to demonstrate this, I'm going to run a couple of bars of the drum bus through the drive pedal, just to make it sound a bit more crushed and lo-fi, basically. This should give an interesting result. Okay, let's go ahead and take a listen. And sometimes I will switch over to the unprocessed sound. So the sound before everything was reamped through the pedals. Let's check it out. All right, very nice. So that's the basic gist of reamping. Those are all the essential things that you need to know and the essential pieces of gear that you need to have for doing this properly with the proper levels. And as I said, I love reamping, and I always want to make sure that when I record some guitars that I always, and I mean always, record the clean DI tracks alongside some processed signals. Because I always want to have the option to run my guitar tracks through another amplifier, or to have the option to add a pedal, or perhaps to run the signals through some effects. Thanks to the guys from Face and Walrus Audio for providing these products and for helping me out with this. It's greatly appreciated. Definitely go check out walrusaudio.com for more information about these products. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you found it useful. If you did, please drop a like and subscribe down below, as it really helps the channel out. And also let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on this process. How do you like to use reamping? Of course, you can also follow Sonic Drive Studio on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers!